Howdy y'all, it's Aaron here. I hope you are doing well. ROAS should be one of the last things that you look at in your business. So in this episode, I'm gonna be sharing with you why ROAS really doesn't matter that much. As always, make sure that you grab something to take notes with and stick around until the end where I'll be sharing with you what you should be doing instead of focusing on ROAS. What other numbers are most important in your business? All right, so number one, why ROAS doesn't matter. For those who don't know what ROAS is, right, we should probably talk about it. The term really means return on ad spend, but it's such an arbitrary number, and honestly, it's not accurate across the board for everything anymore because of so much that is lost through data tracking. But anyway, online gurus have been touting their return on ad spend online for a single sale because that's all Facebook can track at that particular time, is how much was made from how much was spent. So I spent $1, I made $1 from that particular sale, or I spent $1, made $10, now I have a 10 ROAS, right? So it's amazing, it looks great. ROAS probably does matter a lot if you are over leveraged to where the only revenue that is being brought in is from paid traffic. And if that's the case for you, this is a great video, because what you should be doing is distributing that money across other areas besides relying only on paid traffic. And if that is your only avenue, you're probably doing a lot of things incorrectly, or let's just say there's a lot of opportunity for you to help your business not have to go with the ups and downs of your Facebook or Instagram ads. ROAS does not matter for one reason and one reason only. It tells only one very small part of the story. If you made business decisions only off of ROAS, then you likely would be out of business, i.e. everyone feeling post iOS and after 2021. You know, when the Pixel was so good, it did the job for everyone, or when e-commerce was untouchable with all of the growth last year. Now, things have changed and it's time to pay attention to numbers that actually matters the most. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, but before we cover what numbers you should actually be paying attention to, I just wanted to say howdy. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding, and we're an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online, no matter what is happening in the world. Now, make sure you do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the latest strategies for clothing stores. We drop new content, several videos every single week for you to help you grow your clothing store. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, so number two, what numbers do matter? So very important, right? So if ROAS doesn't matter or doesn't matter as much, right? Let's not put all the way there. It does matter a little bit, but what other things do matter? AOV, average order value, LTV, lifetime value, and the amount of money in your bank account. Those numbers really do matter. You cannot control how much it costs to advertise. Okay. Yes, you can, but they aren't hard controls. You can create better photos, better videos, copy, build a higher converting website. But outside of that, if Facebook has less data and doesn't know who to go after, and your ads are par for the course, meaning they're okay, right? You're likely paying more this year than you did last year, and you're gonna likely pay more next year than you did this year, which is why we need to be focusing on numbers you can control, like your average order value and the lifetime value of your customer. Now, we'll talk more about both of these later and what LTV actually means for your business. Knowing is half of the battle, which is why you should hit that like button so that YouTube knows that you like this video so far. Thank you, and thank you to Triple Well for being a game changer for us. More about them later. Understanding AOV, LTV, and the numbers inside of Ads Manager are crucial to success. I've turned off too many ads that were technically winners, but the data didn't come through correctly, right? We used the numbers inside of Ads Manager, which was unreliable. Triple Well solves this problem, getting well over 99% of all the attribution data correct, which means you can make better decisions with your ads. So if you want to be able to make actionable decisions with your ads, check out Triple Well and the link in the description down below. Number three, beginner ROAS strategy, right? So we're gonna talk about beginner and more advanced strategy, right? So that everybody can win from the beginner stages, right? It's the little things that matter in everything that we do to be able to make the bigger things more impactful, right? We can't just show you an advanced strategy. Please don't skip over this part, because if you jump to the advanced strategy and don't know the beginner side, it's gonna be a little bit harder, right? We gotta learn how to walk before we run. So anyway, enough analogies. Now, I know I said your ROAS doesn't matter, but that doesn't mean we ignore it completely. It does matter to a degree. It does provide a small peak right? So a little peek at the bigger picture, and the rest of these numbers I'm about to share with you will help us do even more. So if you don't know them, right, make sure you go and do the research for yourself because they're very, very important. So number one, COGS, cost of goods sold, right? So what does it cost for your goods? Everything goes into the cost, the buying, everything that goes into that. Shipping, right? Shipping changes all of the time. I think we have several videos on YouTube of like negotiated rates with UPS or negotiated rates with ShipStation or whatever, right? Those shipping rates change every single year. Make sure you know how much it costs for you to send your clothes to somebody everywhere in the country, or if you do international, everywhere in the world. The next number is LTV, lifetime value. So let's work out some simple math here so that we can talk about our internal target costs. This will give us insight into our ad buying strategy. All right, so again, let's just assume here a couple of things we know. COGS, right? Let's make easy numbers, right? I know yours is probably not exactly these numbers. So cost of goods, shipping, let's just do flat rate. I know it cost me $5. And then, all right, and number 3 here is LTV. Let's just say the average person is worth $100. All right, so the cost of goods, and let's just assume here you're selling a $40 shirt. So right over here, $40 shirt. This is a high-end shirt, super high quality. You made an amazing design. Thank you so much for doing that. So you're selling it for $40, which means that you have $20 over here in quote-unquote profit. Minus $5, right? Which means that we get this to 15. So every $40 shirt that you make $15, right? But that does not include the cost to run ads. So you're like, okay, well now I have to acquire a customer for less than $15, which if you're running ads on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else right now, you're like, okay, this is a really, really rough target cost per acquisition. Well, that's just the cost for one purchase, right? So let's look at our average order value, right? Because that gives us bigger insight. So let's just say the average order value is actually a little bit higher. Let's say everything's doubled, right? So now you got 2 shirts inside of there. The average person buys 2, some buy 3, some buy 1, but let's just say it's average. So this is our old target cost per acquisition, right? Anything below 15. Now it's actually 30. So target cost per acquisition is $30. And anything below that, right, we are profitable. So we have to spend, right, let's just say shipping changes a little bit more. So let's just say it's, 29. So our goal is 28. Like this is the actual number we're looking at here. $28. Anything below that, and we're profitable. The lifetime value does not change, right? This is where the real magic happens. So if you're early on in your business, right, it's a number you've got to figure out. But what we're really most interested in is the lifetime value of this customer at 30 days. So 30 days. All right, so we'll talk about 30 days and why that's an important number on more of the advanced side of things. But my point is, right now, our goal is $28 for a lifetime value of this customer for us to be profitable. So every day, hopefully we get 2 or 3 of these, and let's just say we're getting them for $25. Like, wow, Aaron, we are not making that much money. But all right, let's do $3 times 5. We made $15 profit, right? You can see very quickly that this is gonna be really an uphill type of battle. But at volume, it really starts to make sense. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the advanced strategy, but my point is your target cost per acquisition should be $28, which that may be to acquire the customer. But over here, right, the lifetime value, that's when we're gonna make profit. Now, the number is very, very important of when we are going to hit that lifetime value. Now, numbers that are important for you should be like, what are the lifetime values for that customer for 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, and let's talk about that. Like I said, in the more of the advanced strategy, but when do you make that $100, right? We know that it's $100, but when do you make that? Because I'll acquire, right? Same thing for you. I'll acquire a customer all day for $28, $26, knowing that I made money on the front end. It's just a couple of dollars, but at scale, right? And when I know I'm gonna make that 100, you spent 28, let's just say round it to 30, spend 30 to make 100, we made over 3 times our money. Now that is a scalable business model. So that is what you need to understand for yourself. Like I said, for this part of it, if you know these numbers right here, your cost of goods, your shipping, and then your total lifetime value of your customer, you're gonna be in a much better position than probably everybody else online who's trying to run ads. All right, before we jump into number 5 in the advanced return on ad spend strategy, which is a bad name since the name of the video, but before we jump into number 5 on the numbers that are most important for your business to understand how to grow and scale profitably, I want to tell you about our free masterclass training that's for clothing stores just like you who are trying to figure out a way to grow and scale profitably online. We actually have 5 pillars that will help walk you through growing your business online. So if you want access to that free 20-minute training, make sure you check the link down in the description below. All right, so number 4 is an advanced ROAS strategy, return on ad spend strategy, is more, I would say, an advanced business strategy for you. So now that you know everything about COGS and your shipping and like the initial part of LTV, the real numbers, right, numbers, we want to know are what is your 30-day cash conversion cycle, or how much is a customer worth for you in the next 30 days? Because all bills, rent, Facebook ads, etc. are all due within 30 days for the most part. So what if you could borrow against yourself knowing that with your system, you could turn a profit and it just took you 30 days? You would essentially be carving out free money. Let's work through what this could look like for you. But before we do, you need to know what your run rate is. I always suggest 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in your bank for your business, if you can. Okay, let's jump over to the iPad and walk through this together. All right, so let's recap just real quickly since we have this pulled up right now on the iPad and what's going on. So cost of goods, it was 50%. The shipping was $5 flat rate, and the lifetime value of that customer was $100. So how do we increase the overall growth of our business knowing these numbers right now? So you can adjust things, we're gonna talk about them, but right, you can adjust things, your cost of goods, make better deals in manufacturing, shipping, get a better rate, whatever, lifetime value of your customer. That's something that we can actually talk about. So let's talk about lifetime value. The lifetime value can be fixed a lot of ways through email, SMS, live selling, getting customers back. But the importance here of what we're going to talk about is a 30-day window, right? So 30 days of LTV. What is the actual LTV for you after 30 days? So this $100 LTV may not happen for 90 days, but what we're really interested in for the sake of this video is that this LTV for this shirt, this $40, they're going to make $80 within 30 days, which means that when everything becomes due, right? So let's just say Facebook ads are due, your rent is due, your subscriptions are due, your apps are due. All of those happen on a pretty much, unless you buy annually for some things, like they are done in a 30-day window. But the most important part is, when are your Facebook ads due? They're due every 30 days. There's actually a new thing right now, like if you've been running ads long enough, it's a net 30. So your first month actually, it's just gonna be a revolving door to the 30 days. But what's cool about Facebook is you can actually spend more and they'll do like a net 30 for you. So use those 30 days to spend as much as possible and then make that money, and then Facebook will charge you afterwards. It's basically like having your own credit or debit card where you don't have to pull out your own money. Very cool. So what I'm saying is, okay, if I know that in 30 days I'm gonna make $80 off of this customer, and that as long as I acquire them for $28, I'm gonna be profitable, right? Then I can actually scale up to that point, right? I could actually scale up to $75 and acquire even more customers. So right now I'm at 28, but imagine if I wanted to double my ad spend. Say I'm spending $100 a day, whoops, let's say here. If I'm spending $100 a day, over the next 30 days, how could I get this to where I'm spending $500 a day, right? Or $200 a day, or whatever that is. But as long as my cost per acquisition stays within that range, the money that is spent does not matter. Because at the end of the month, right, you know your numbers so well that you're gonna make $80. And as long as you stay within the parameters right here of just saying, for example, $28, which we could extend that, right? It could be 35, could be 40 because you know you're gonna make 80, but $28, right? As long as we stay within $28 and you just tell Facebook to continue to scale, at the end of the month, it's just a wash, right? Acquire 1,000 customers at 28 or acquire, 200,000 customers at 28, right? It does not matter because it's, again, the numbers work out to where it's just a wash. Facebook's gonna charge you for the number that you already have. Now, let's assume that everything happens on day one. It does not happen on day one. It is gonna take time to ramp up, right? Because some people may buy on day one, some people may buy on day two, but as you get better with your information, you'll know exactly how much you can spend per day to acquire enough customers. And the most important number that I mentioned earlier is how much money is in your bank account. We suggest 3 to 6 months of business expenses, specifically advertising expenses in your bank account, so that you can ride your own wave, right? You're your own bank. So if something happens one month where you're missing it by 10%, no problem. You continue on. You keep plunging forward. You keep moving in the right direction. So if you know those numbers, then you can make a decision where you can spend more than your competition. And as Den Kennedy would say, those who can spend the most to acquire customer win, right? And when you have this information right here, if you know your cost of goods, you know your shipping, your lifetime value, and you know how much that customer is worth to you in 30 days, now you are armed with being able to scale the business basically at cost. And then, like I said, we can do let's do a 12-month LTV, right? Now we have 10 more months or 11 more months where we can increase that LTV from $100 to, how do we get it to 150 or to 200? And you can see that now you've acquired the hardest part, which is getting that name and email and phone number and all of that information, all that data. You've done that hardest part in the beginning, and now you can use that later in the future to increase that LTV and make even more profit in the future. So I know this is a lot. I know it's a little hands-on here, right? So work out the numbers for yourself. But if you have any questions about this, please drop a comment down below. Happy to answer or walk through any of that. Now that you know the numbers that actually matter in your business, it's time to build your campaigns in such a way that you have an advantage in the marketplace. So make sure you go watch this video next. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions at all, drop them below, and we'll see you in the next video.